Windows 7 sucks so bad, so fucking bad. You all are owned. Anybody who uses Windows 7 is a complete and utter idiot. Anybody. Unless they have to. Have to for work or school. If you do it out of choice, you're a bloomin' fucking fool. Look at this. XP mode? XP mode? Oh, that's the equivalent of Snow Leopard having to run a virtual machine to run Tiger apps. Okay, let me explain what this means. Windows XP mode is simply Windows XP with Service Pack 3 running in the most recent version of Virtual PC, now dubbed Windows Virtual PC, and turned to run on Windows 7. Windows XP is an installation of Windows XP Professional with Service Pack 3, including the pre-configured virtual hard drive. It takes the guesswork out of configuring a virtual machine, although you can always reconfigure. Now, let me get this straight. Windows 7 has to boot into a virtual machine, onto a virtual drive, to get applications that run on XP to work? Oh, this is the icing on the cake. The fucking backward compatibility is so bad, Windows 7 is so bad, that they gotta boot people into a virtual machine to use XP apps? That's how they're making their business people happy? We're gonna let you upgrade to Windows 7, but we know you're a business and you still use Windows XP, so we're gonna let you boot into Windows XP virtually. So, why the fuck even buy Windows 7? If you're gonna be booting into fucking XP virtually because you're in a business who don't want to upgrade, why not just stick with XP? How the fuck are you letting Microsoft trick you into buying an operating system and running the one you need under virtualization, when you could just keep the one you have and need and run it natively? What the fuck is this? Is this not a testament to how bad Microsoft is? They have to give you a virtual environment to get things to work that worked on XP? Do you all understand what this means? How horrible and incapable Windows 7 must be? You wonder why there's no upgrade path? Because there can't be. That's how badly they designed the software. There's not that much difference as far as code goes, I'm assuming, and they're telling me they can't make shit work. I can run shit from Tiger on my Snow Leopard. Apps that were made for Tiger will run on my Snow Leopard without a flaw. No virtual machine needed. The only reason I need a virtual machine is to boot into a completely different operating system. Now you tell me something. How much would you make fun of us Mac users if we needed a virtual machine to run Tiger apps? How much would you make fun of us if we needed a virtual machine to run Leopard apps after going to Snow Leopard? Are you all seriously defending this strategy? Listen, we know, guys, you all don't need Windows 7, you're still with XP, so here is a way to run your XP stuff. It's a full install of Windows XP running on a virtual hard drive. Then just stick with XP and don't buy Windows 7. It's just a big fucking scam to get you to buy it, to get you to buy more hardware. Steve Ballmer don't know what the fuck he's doing. He's got his bald head up his fucking hairy ass, and he's ruining Microsoft, and now the only thing they can come up with is XP mode? Let's go on through here and see here. Windows XP mode is narrowly focused at enabling legacy, a 32-bit Windows XP apps to run on Windows 7. More importantly, it's aimed at business applications. That's right, so businesses can go ahead and shuck out the money and upgrade to Windows 7, but they can keep still using their XP stuff. If you want to keep using your XP stuff, stick with XP. If the main majority of your apps are XP apps, don't start running them on a virtual fucking machine and hard drive just so you can upgrade to Vista. It's fucking stupid. They're fucking fooling you guys. They're pulling the wool over your eyes, and they're fucking doing it good. Okay. In other words, there's no hardware accelerated 3D in Windows XP mode. No hardware accelerated 3D in XP mode. It's the same thing as fucking VMware or Parallels. So no 3D games will run unless they're much older games that shipped with a software 3D renderer. That doesn't mean you can't run any games. Titles that were exclusively 2D, you know, so if you had any games that were XP that are nostalgic to you, that you want to play, or, well, that's just ridiculous. What are the... So this is for people, mainly for businesses is what I'm assuming, because there's no 3D game support. But I think it is a complete insult to fucking injury that they're wanting you to shuck out $300 fucking for a new operating system and then give you a virtual install of the operating system you actually need to get the apps you need to run. No hardware accelerated 3D. It's a shame. You know, we need Parallels to run Windows. We need Parallels to run Ubuntu. Two totally different operating systems than the one we're using, OS X. We do not need a virtualization to run 10.5. We do not need a virtualization to run 10.4, which is the equivalent of Windows 7 needing virtualization to run XP. It's fucking ridiculous, and you've been owned so bad there's not even a fucking response that I want to hear from you guys. It says, Windows XP mode has some surprisingly stringent requirements. You must be running Windows 7 Professional or Ultimate. So any of you guys that don't have Windows 7 Professional or Ultimate, you're fucked. So this tells you right here it's for businesses only. Windows 7 Home Premium users or Vista users of any flavor are not currently supported. So if you have Vista Ultimate, don't matter. It's a little enticing carrot to get you to upgrade. They want people to move to Windows 7 so bad, they're starting to include free prices. Windows XP mode requires hardware support for virtualization. For Intel CPUs, that means the CPU must be VTX capable, while AMD processors need to support AMD-V. You can find a list of supported CPUs on Wikipedia. Even if you, close that. Even if you meet those requirements, Windows XP mode may not run because your BIOS needs the ability to enable hardware virtualization. Most current generation motherboards can enable hardware virtualization, but often ship with the capability disabled. You'll need to manually enable the feature in the BIOS setup. Can they not even make this work smoothly? Come on, seriously. They're making you go into your BIOS on some occasions to get this thing to work? Fuck that. Most people will never even fool with it then. Setting up XP mode. We installed and tested the release candidate for Windows XP mode running on Windows 7 Ultimate. You first need to install Windows Virtual PC. First you need to go out and get that junk software, Windows Virtual PC, so you can emulate the same exact operating system. 2 operating systems from Microsoft. And you need a virtualization to get XP to work. Do you all understand how ironic and stupid this is? I can't say it enough. It's like Apple making us run a virtual machine and hard drive in order to work Tiger apps. It's utterly ridiculous, and the consumer should be nothing but completely insulted. After Windows Virtual PC is up and running, you launch the self-installing package. The installer looks and behaves like an odd blend of application and operating system install. An odd blend. Ain't that something? That's Microsoft's way. Looks like an OS installer. Sort of. So they can't even get that right. Is it an OS install? Is it a app install? Come on, let's confuse our users a little bit more. Don't let the word virtualization fool you. You're having to run XP because XP apps won't run under Windows 7. You have to run XP because XP apps won't run under Windows 7. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? You even get this help protect your computer screen as you would with a Windows XP OS 10 or XP OS install. XP mode defaults to 512 meg of RAM for the virtual machine, so you may want to gobble up some of your RAM and put it towards the virtual machine. That way, you can have even more of your resources sucked dry. XP mode forces you to create a login and password, unlike an actual physical install of XP. When you run Windows XP mode, it's just like running a copy of Windows XP, except for the 3D acceleration. You're on the XP desktop and navigate the virtual machine just like you would Windows XP on any hardware. If you click on the close button, the VM hibernates, enabling faster startup. But just running a copy of XP isn't all that useful. If users have to toggle back and forth between two different operating systems, confusion might result. Instead, you want to create encapsulated applications. Whoa, they're talking about confusing the user? They're talking about confusing the user, so they want to start talking about encapsulated applications. Let's talk a little bit about confusing the user. How many of you all have heard of encapsulated applications? So now people's going to think, oh, so I've got to have a totally different kind of application? I've got to have something called an encapsulated application? Is this the same thing? Do I have to download this totally separate? Is it a totally separate app? Or is it something I add to the app I got? Talk about confusion.